Manifest West is a film that brings a unique blend of drama, suspense, and a slight psychological thriller element, shedding light on deep and sometimes disturbing themes. Released in 2022, the movie transports viewers on an immersive journey by showcasing a family that decides to leave modern society and live deep in the mountains. At first glance, this decision seems motivated by a desire to connect more with nature and to pursue a simpler, more meaningful life away from the pressures of the modern world. But this shift is only the beginning of a series of events that lead the family to question their decisions and the very nature of survival. Early in the film, we are introduced to Dave, the father, who represents a classic figure of a man trying to distance himself from a society he believes is collapsing. His wife, Alice, is more reluctant, adding a layer of tension that persists throughout the narrative. This family dynamic, between Dave's idealism and Alice's pragmatism, is one of the film's central points and sparks several discussions about the true cost of independence. As the story unfolds, the family's isolation in the mountains begins to take its toll. Initially, the off-grid lifestyle appears idyllic. No electricity, living off the land, and trying to cultivate a self-sufficient life. However, the film quickly reveals that this independence comes at a high cost, both emotionally and physically. The logistical and psychological challenges of living far from civilization begin to become apparent. The director skillfully creates a dense, often oppressive atmosphere. The sense of isolation is palpable, and this is intensified by the careful use of vast, barren landscapes, which, while beautiful, convey an increasing sense of desperation. The film also does an excellent job of using silence as a suspense tool. Instead of relying on intense music or exaggerated sounds, Manifest West often uses the sound of wind, rustling trees, and creaking wood to create an atmosphere that is simultaneously calm and terrifying. Another important aspect worth highlighting is the role of the children in the story. The eldest daughter, Riley, is the character through whom we see most of the narrative. Through her eyes, we witness the emotional and psychological strain that mountain life imposes on the family. The director shows us how, for a child, isolation can be both an adventure and a prison. As the film progresses, Riley begins to realize that her parents' choice may not have been the best, and this discovery comes with a series of consequences. The film isn't just about the physical struggle to survive off the grid. It's also about the internal battle that each family member faces. Dave, who initially seemed like the charismatic leader with a clear vision of how life should be, begins to unravel under the pressure of keeping his family safe and together. He faces growing doubts about his ability to protect those he loves, which leads him to make increasingly rash decisions. Alice, on the other hand, tries to remain strong and rational, but it soon becomes clear that she, too, is on the verge of breaking down. The film does an excellent job of showing how the power dynamics within a relationship can shift drastically in high-stress situations. The way the couple deals with the challenges they face is a crucial part of the plot's development and significantly contributes to the mounting tension. Another element that makes Manifest West intriguing is the inclusion of mysterious neighbors who live relatively close to the family. These neighbors play an essential role in the escalation of conflict in the film. At first, they seem like eccentric people who chose a similar lifestyle, but as the plot unfolds, their true intentions are revealed, creating a new wave of tension and uncertainty. Their presence raises questions about the family's true safety and makes Dave feel even more threatened and paranoid. The interaction between the family and these neighbors is carefully built to create a sense of distrust, and the audience is constantly left wondering who the real villains of the story are. This is one aspect that the film explores very well. The notion that, in extreme situations, everyone is capable of terrible acts. This moral ambiguity is one of Manifest West's greatest strengths. There are no perfectly good or bad characters. Instead, the film explores the different facets of human nature when placed in a survival situation. It questions how far morality can be maintained when people's lives are at stake, and this is reflected in both the protagonists and the secondary characters. However, it's important to point out that Manifest West is not a traditional action film. While there are moments of high tension, the movie is largely a character study, exploring how isolation can reveal people's weaknesses. It's a film that takes its time building tension and exploring the themes it presents. The narrative may sometimes seem slow, but this pacing is used effectively to increase suspense and allow the characters to develop in a realistic and complex way. As the film progresses to its climax, the tension builds and the family situation becomes increasingly desperate. The audience is led to question whether the family will survive this experience, not just physically, but also emotionally. The isolation, which initially seemed like a solution to the family's problems, quickly becomes their biggest threat to survival. The unfolding events lead to an inevitable confrontation, where hidden truths come to light and masks fall off. As the story progresses, the isolation not only exposes the tensions between the family members, but also starts to erode Dave's sanity. The character, who at first appeared strong and determined, gradually transforms into someone increasingly paranoid, distrusting everyone around him, including his own family. His journey is a slow and dangerous descent into a spiral of suspicion and instability, which ultimately puts everyone at risk. It's at this point that Manifest West reminds us that the real danger is not necessarily outside, but within the walls of the home the family has built. The human mind, when pushed to the extreme, can become its worst enemy. Dave begins to see threats everywhere, even where none exist, and his behavior becomes more and more erratic. The audience is left questioning how much of this paranoia is justified and how much is a product of prolonged isolation. Alice, on the other hand, emerges as the more rational figure. While Dave sinks into his insecurities, she desperately tries to hold the family together and keep them safe. Her quiet strength contrasts with Dave's increasingly volatile behavior, and this dichotomy between the two main characters serves as the emotional engine of the film. Alice begins to realize that in order to protect her children, she may have to take drastic action. It is this realization that leads to the film's turning point. In the third act, events escalate, and the movie reaches a climax that is both tense and emotionally charged. The director does an excellent job of gradually building the tension, and when we finally reach the breaking point, the sense of imminent danger is almost palpable. The neighbors, who at first seemed harmless, play a crucial role in this climax. The interaction between the family and these external figures becomes a catalyst for Dave's final breakdown. The paranoia, which had been a constant presence throughout the film, finally materializes, and the audience is left wondering whether Dave was right all along, or if he simply succumbed to his own mental instability. The confrontation between Dave and the neighbors is electrifying. It's both a physical and psychological battle, where the lines between right and wrong become increasingly blurred. The film offers no easy answers, and that is one of its greatest strengths. There is no simple resolution, and the viewers are challenged to reflect on what they have just witnessed. Was Dave really protecting his family from a real threat, or did he become the greatest danger to the ones he loved? The cinematography at this point reaches its peak. The use of light and shadow, the tight angles that convey the claustrophobia of isolation, and the minimalist soundtrack all contribute to creating an atmosphere of constant doubt and panic. It's impossible not to feel the tension building with each scene, and the emotional impact it generates is profound. When the film finally reaches its conclusion, the viewer is left with a sense of unease. Manifest West is not a film that offers a clean or satisfying ending. Instead, it leaves several questions unanswered, inviting the audience to reflect on the themes presented. What does it really mean to be free from society? At what cost does independence come? And perhaps most importantly, how much can we trust ourselves when we are under extreme pressure? This ambiguous ending is undoubtedly one of the reasons Manifest West stands out among so many other survival and family drama films. It's not just a movie about the physical difficulties of living off the grid or surviving without modern comforts. It's a deep psychological study of what happens when people are pushed to their limits and forced to confront their own flaws. However, the film is not without its flaws. Some critics may argue that the pacing is at times too slow, especially in the middle of the movie, where there is a sense of repetition in the interactions between the characters. Additionally, the development of some of the secondary characters, particularly the neighbors, could have been more thoroughly explored, as their presence in the film is significant, yet their motivations are never fully explained. Still, these are minor criticisms compared to the overall impact the film has. Manifest West is an effective psychological drama that explores themes of isolation, paranoia, and the tensions within a collapsing family. It's a film that stays with you long after the credits roll, leaving you pondering what you would do in a similar situation. Regarding the cast, the actors deliver phenomenal performances in conveying the emotional complexity of their characters. The actor portraying Dave offers an especially notable performance, navigating between the initial strength and the mental fragility that emerges later in the film. Alice is also portrayed masterfully, with the actress capturing the blend of love, fear, and frustration that defines her journey. Riley, the eldest daughter, provides a more innocent perspective, but one that is equally important. Her view of the family's collapse reflects how children can be affected by decisions beyond their control, and her performance brings a sense of vulnerability and hope amid the growing chaos. In the end, Manifest West is not just a story about a family choosing to live off the grid. It is a profound reflection on the consequences of those choices. As the film builds to its final moments, the audience is left to wonder whether the family's attempt to escape the problems of modern society only led them to confront an even greater danger: the danger within themselves. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to see more detailed recaps like this, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss out. New videos drop 3 times a week. Whether you're into the latest films or hidden gems, we've got something for everyone, so stick around for more exciting content coming your way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.